Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Tuesday, September 10th. So, what are we going to talk about today? Today, I thought we'd kind of explore when to turn away work and what type of work to turn away, and when, even though you don't have the experience and technology, you still take on the work and you find a way. I just had three different ways, right? All right, so stay tuned. Hey, welcome back. Yes, it is. This is the weekday, Monday through Friday, available on podcast for your listening pleasure. Today is Tuesday, the 10th of September. So I thought what we talk about today is when is it okay to turn away work? And when is it a must to turn away work? Well, there's probably a couple different ideas on this, and I welcome yours as well. And that is if you have a yard full of units that you're looking at a month to 2 months out, you may want to start turning away work. And I know most businessmen and most businesses have probably a different idea on that. They think the more the merrier, right? To a certain extent. Because we're focusing on customer satisfaction. Customers being happy with not only the cost, the repairs, getting it fixed, but also in a timely fashion. And what do I mean by that? I mean, if you're a customer of mine, all right, and you drop yours off, good chances are you will have it back within a week. You as a shop owner, how many can say today that I could have your unit back in a week? If you've got a yard full and you're a month out, every person that comes after that is a month plus. How many happy customers do you have? I don't care that you're building, work out there. You either got to do one or two things. You either got to start turning people away, or you need to hire on a couple more mechanics to get you caught up. Because I've had customers say, I've driven by your place and it looked like you had quite a bit in the yard, so we decided not even to bother that because we wanted to get it fixed in a reasonable time frame. So when you have a shop and you got a whole yard full of stuff, a lot of your customers or potential customers will drive right by. Now, is that a bad thing? No. It's the way that the good Lord is trying to tell you that, you have to feel an emotion within your customer, and that is either it's going to be happy or pissed. And some fall in the middle. But for the most part, either you're going to have a very happy customer or a very pissed off customer. I try to take on stuff that we can get in and get out. But there's two of us. If I need to, I can jump in and take on the small stuff. Get it knocked out. Get it out of the shop. I've also told you, because Jason kind of gave me that, thanks Jason, of learning to spot a turd out there and not even bringing it into the shop. Because it's not going to be a moneymaker. And all it's going to do is piss off the customer because now you're telling them that it can't be fixed or that it's not financially feasible to be fixed. And you wasted all that time and energy in a place where you could have been fixing another customer's machine to get it out, right, and get paid. When you're in business, you don't want to take on every job. You want to take on the jobs that you're qualified for. Now, are there exceptions to the rule? Yes. It's if you have a shop with mechanics that are willing to learn new things, then that changes the dynamics some, right? Now, we've been talking about some of the newer models coming out, and they're all computerized. You know, they've got the CDI boxes on it, like the four-wheelers and that stuff, for years. And that does change the dynamics for the small engine repair guy working on lawnmowers, right? That they have to have some kind of understanding of it. And YouTube is a good place as well. You know, there's a lot of good people out there teaching, and that's greatly appreciated. If you're one of them, thank you. Of how to test the CDI boxes, how it works, you know, and if you have mechanics, or in my case, me, the willingness to learn the new technology, then that opens the door to more things that you can take on. Now, if you have a shop where you and the mechanic are not willing to, you know, learn new things, and you want to stick with what's always been your bread and butter, you will be phased out. It's just a matter of time. You will be phased out unless there's still a lot of old machines around. And I can tell you right now, this new generation of throwaways are getting less and less. So if you're not staying up to date with technology and the new stuff that's coming on the market and what manufacturers are doing with their engines, and looking at the bulletins to see where they're having problems and what was their workaround or what was their fix, then that makes you less needed. You know, it's kind of like the guy that, let's say, works on snowmobiles. You got two different shops, right? You got one's a dealership that sells snowmobiles, and they got a mechanic that works on snowmobiles, all right? And then you have a repair shop that is a small one. I say small. And it's a mechanic that went out on their own. But not only are they a mechanic, but they've got walls of trophies of all their wins with grass, track, you know, all for high performance. And dyno testing and, you know, all. Where do you think your guys that want speed and because it's a young man's game, right? Where are they going to go? And the surprising part of it is most of them will go to the small mechanic because they see that he has experience. He's doing it. He's living it, right? He knows how because he does it on his own units. And he can set your machine up to have it come out at peak horsepower, peak performance, because he's done it with other machines. So then the next thing kicks in is knowing your limitations, right? And, you know, like with the guy with the snowmobile mechanic, he's a one-man band, but he could have as much work, if not more, than the one that is the dealership, if he wanted it. But he started turning away work because he was getting behind. He was spending all summer long trying to get other people's machines ready for that fall and winter, when the snow came, that he had less time to concentrate on his own machines to have them ready for racing. And where he screwed up, in my opinion, was he changed his focus to more on him and his buddies racing and working on their sleds and less on the customers. And a lot of times when it came for snowfall, a lot of customers' machines were still sitting there that he hadn't had a chance to get to because he was going to grass drags, ice drags, you name it. So again, it comes to customer satisfaction, right? That's what we're in the business for. We're in the business to hopefully have a happy customer walk out. So knowing our limitations, and not exceeding them is a good thing too. Case in point, now I just had a gal get a hold of me yesterday, and she had seen our ad quite a long time ago, and they've got a 1971 John Deere 4000 diesel tractor. Now, the rarity of that tractor, so that you can kind of keep this in mind, is that there's around 200 left. Yeah, 200 left in the U.S. And these folks have got one. And it's got the synchro shifts and she wanted to know if we'd be willing to work on it. Now, I know our limitations, all right? I know better than to get into the synchro shifts because those are a pain in the backside. And getting parts for that beast is getting harder and harder, right? So I called her back because she left a message. I called her back and I said, what are we looking at? What do you need? What do you want? Done. And she said, well, it needs brakes. Okay, I can still get those parts. It needs the hydraulic oil and oil filter changed. That's doable. She said the synchro shift. And that's when my heart sank, because I'm getting ready to say absolutely not. She said there's a filter on it that somebody that knows things about that tractor told them that they should have that filter changed to keep contaminants out. Doable. She said there was a solenoid issue. Doable. And then just a general once over. She said that her husband had somebody rebuild the engine about 2 years ago. They had bought this brand new in 71 on their dairy farm. And they kept that tractor around for a little bit of everything that they do. But the limitations that we have at the shop are space. It has to be able to fit through a 9x7 door, right? And that's what I told her. I said, can you measure the outside distance from one outside tire to the other in the back? That way I can tell you whether we can fit it in the shop or not. And if we can't, which I'd already talked to Claude about, kind of hinted at it, is I have a 2-car garage, but it's got a one big door opener. I said we can clean that out in a hurry and pull it in there and work on it there to get it knocked out for what stuff needs to be done, filters and all that other stuff. And I said, actually, it doesn't need to be split, so we can do most of that right outside if we take it on right now. But, he's very adamant if we can't fix it here, because with the brakes, the whole rear axle's got to come off, so that's major. So it needs to be on a concrete floor. And you need a way to be able to separate that, take the tire off. Good chances are it's loaded because there's a loader on it. So we have our own limitations on what we can take on based on our experience and then the size of the unit coming in. We've stayed with the older, smaller tractors because they fit, right? And plus the dealerships, they don't want to monkey with them anyways because they're all selling new stuff that you have to have a laptop and a program to check it. So in that case, I left it with it, measure up the back tires. If the back tires are not going to fit into that shop, Claude does not want to do it. And that means we would have to turn it away. But see, as I explained to Claude, I said, I've also got a friend that does the same thing, that he has seen quite a reduction in work. He's usually a year out, by the way. And the money's just not there for disposable, so he hasn't seen a lot. I told him if we can't do it, that I'm going to call him and see if he can do it and connect those two. It's a win-win for everybody, right? I get a happy customer. I get a happy friend that we do swap knowledge back and forth with, tools back and forth with. And that's what the decision you have to make. Is if you know it's beyond your limitations, and ours is size, why not give it to the other guy that's a friend of yours that doesn't have that limitation on size? And his tendency is he works on the bigger units anyways, right? And he does everything from engine tear downs to synchro shift and all that. And he's a hell of a mechanic. By doing that does not tell that customer you're with a bad reputation of not being able to fix their tractor. You have provided them with a solution. And that's what we're all about, is providing solutions for our customers to get the end job done, right? And if you can't do it, it's nice if you got somebody that can, that's you're friends with. You know, I've always said with the other shops, don't compete against them. Partner with them. And this is what I mean. If we have an overflow issue of something I can't work on, I know I can pass it to him and he would take it on. And I know he would do a good job, even though it's my customer. And I've had him do work for us where my customer didn't want to deal with anybody but us. Take the unit over there, bring it back here, take it over there, have him do the repairs, bring it back over here and call the customer. And then tack on some money for trucking it back and forth and all that. And usually my friend, he'll give you enough room to cushion to bring up so you make a few bucks on it. Everybody's happy, right? But you don't want to let technology limit you, because if you do, you'll be phased out, right? But you do want to know what your limitations are in your shop. And you don't want to have a big overflow out there. And I've seen shops that'll put up a high fence and hide all their months worth of work out back. And the customer comes in and doesn't see very many machines, so they ask about getting theirs done. Meanwhile, their thought process is it should be done in less than a week. Because they're looking and they don't see a lot of repair work to be done. It's because the shop has it hidden. Now, that same customer a month later, what's going to be their emotion to that business? I know what it's going to be because we get a lot of them. They get pissed. They either have their own trailer or they have a buddy that's got a trailer. They go pick it up and they bring it to us. Because it sat for over a month and nobody touched it. Nobody even looked at it. And meanwhile, their grass is growing and they're paying somebody else to mow their yard. It's great to have a lot of business. It's great to have a lot of work. But you got to limit yourself to what you can get in and get out within a week, week and a half at max. Anything longer than that, and you're just going to piss off the bulk of your customers. They're not going to be happy campers. And what I can tell you from experience is bad news travels faster than good. If a customer has a bad experience, they will tell the world. If they've had a really good experience, they'll tell their friends. So just give that thought. What's your take on that? If you're a shop owner or even a mechanic, because I know as a mechanic you want steady work, right? Especially if you're doing flat rate. Do you turn away any work, or are you a shop that says we'll take on anything and end up with a whole yard of stuff? What is your take on your customers that don't get anything fixed for a month? How do your customers feel about that when they talk to you? And the best way to, if you're a bigger shop, you're going to have a service department, and that's where they're going to field most of it. So I'm going to start wrapping this up, but if you've watched prior videos on a workaround, a solution, and that is train your customers so that you have some customers, because the biggest thing in the spring is servicing, right? Changing the oil filter, fuel filter, plugs. You're doing a once over, getting it ready for the coming season, right? There's nothing that says it has to be done in the spring. We actually have over half our customers come in the fall when things are slower, because they know that they can get it in, get it out. And I've had customers bring it to us at the end of the seasons, just before they get ready to put it away. I also have some customers that find it more convenient for them to come in for a service midsummer. The main thing is that your customer is getting the maintenance done on their unit when they need it. Now, if it's a breakdown, it's going to happen, right? Wherever they break down, they blow a belt, a spindle on the deck, what have you, then you don't have any choice, right? But if it's just simply because your shop is full in the spring of the year because you have all these units in to get a service, you can, as a shop owner or as a service department, you can spread them out over the summer and fall. Even if you give them a 5-10% discount, if you do it in the fall versus the spring of the year, it's a win-win, because that business that you're going to lose because you can't get it in fast enough, now you've reduced it and you spread it over a 6 to an 8 month period versus all of it being in 1 month, right? So I want to hear what you have to say on that. What do you do as a shop? What do you do as a mechanic? What does your shop do? Again, it all boils down to customer satisfaction, customer service. So on that note, you guys have a great Tuesday, and we'll catch you here bright and early tomorrow morning. Again, thanks so much for watching, and I do read the comments and appreciate them. So if you got one, leave it.